Okay, so quite a lot of clients and people ask me, Johnny, how did you face your fears all those years ago? How did you become successful? How did you improve yourself? How do you do the things that you're doing? So I'm going to give you the answer because sometimes I can't always answer a question like that straight away on the spot when I'm not expecting it. Because I have to go back into my life and kind of do a life review and remember how was my mindset back then? How has it changed? What were the things I'd done? Now I can answer it because I had some time to think. So, when you're asking me, how did I become successful? How did I start YouTube? Or how did I start teaching and, become successful in my own business? Or how did I get over my anxiety of speaking to women and get a girlfriend and people and, doing events and being able to, how did I become this person? And the truth was, it started off with getting bullied a lot when I was younger. Because truth be known, as a young kid, I was always really sensitive. I'm sure a lot of you would relate. I mean, I was really sensitive. I didn't like fighting. I didn't like confrontation. I didn't like arguments. I was really scared and socially quite timid. And I didn't like hurting people's feelings. So I was always really more compassionate towards other people's feelings than my own feelings. So I was always worried about offending someone or making them feel bad, right? And that can be a good thing, because that shows that you've got human empathy. Thank God I was brought up with good parents. But on another extreme, it can be a bad thing if it's too excessive. And with mine, I'd say it was a bit of both. So because I was really shy when I was younger, I don't think I was shy straight away, but when I went to school, I became shy. And the shyness was fear. It was fear of embarrassing myself. And I did stutter a lot because I would get awkward, or I would be worried that what I was saying was stupid, or people would disagree, or they would shout, and those, at some moment in time, all those things happened. So it wasn't just like I made these things up in my head. They happened. I got bullied physically. I was physically bullied, people, kids hitting me, and I was verbally called horrible names. And I wasn't the only one, so I'm not playing a victim. Many kids in my school went through it. Even the bullies would get bullied by an even tougher bully. So bullying initially caused me so much pain, and it made me anxious. It made me awkward. Now, I'm not saying I wasn't like what you see on movies, they exaggerate. I wasn't awkward all the time. I wasn't like this guy that's continuously awkward and sweating. I wasn't like that. But I did get really awkward in certain moments where other people wouldn't, and I couldn't do public speaking at school. Whenever I had to read, a chapter out of an English book in front of the class, before I started, I would be stuttering. I couldn't do it. Or when I'd do it really badly, I couldn't calm my nerves down and just speak. So I come from that place, and it went on for a long time. And I grew up in a rough area. I went to quite a good school, but there was a lot of bullying in the school, and there was bullying in my secondary school. In my area, there was a lot of gangs and things like that. So I was always you're always on edge when you live in an area that's dangerous. You kind of got to be on your toes. You can't just be complacent. So the bullying that I underwent at school affected me for a long time. And I remember when I'd go home after school, after being bullied that day or a particular time, it would kill me, the feeling after. I can't describe the feeling to you guys. I'm gonna use a word to describe a set of emotions, and that might not be 100% accurate, but I'd feel like a coward. Obviously, when I was younger, I probably didn't even know what that word... No, actually, I did know what that word meant. But I feel awful. Shame. Shame. I mean, shame beyond words. I'd feel ashamed. I would be angry at myself. I would hate myself. Not all myself, but for not doing something about it. And I'd obviously hate the person who bullied me. And then I'd feel depressed. And I'd have this horrible... it's like a dark feeling, an empty feeling of loneliness, sadness, embarrassment, shame, all that. I had all those feelings because I felt How could I let someone do that to me? How could I let that kid at school speak to me like that, or spit at me, which is disgusting, I know, but kids did that. Or how could I let him belittle me or dominate me like that in front of everyone, and, you know, make me put my head down and all those things. And then it continued all throughout my early teens, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I remember one day, and this didn't happen once, it happened several times. It was one particular day this guy around my area was bullying me. I was terrified of him, to the point where when I was leaving my house to go out, I was looking around both corners and seeing if he was there. That's how much fear he put in me. And one day I didn't want to come out of my house because, you know, people were saying he's around the area, and I didn't want to go shop. And I love playing football with my mates, but I couldn't do it. And I remember sitting there thinking, I can't have this. I can't have this guy having this control over me, making me feel like this and terrifying me. I was just going I was going mad, honestly, with the fear and the pain. And I said to myself, you know what? I'd rather die. I'd rather this guy kill me than sit at home and be a coward and let him basically make me housebound. I can't do this. I'm going to fight him. I'm going out. I'm not going to start trouble, but I'm going to confront him. I'm not going to not go to the shop. If I see him and he puts his hands on me, I'm going to hit him back. I'm going to go all out. So when I made that commitment and I was on my own, I didn't go with any friends. I put my jacket on and I went out. I felt this feeling, this courage that I never knew I had. You know, my dad used to always say to me that I had it, but I'd never ever used it. I never knew I had it. I was still afraid, but I weren't afraid to be afraid, if that makes sense. I didn't care. I was willing to die. I was like, oh, I'm not having it no more. I did see the guy and I confronted him. Luckily, we didn't get into a fight. He got scared. I didn't need to be physical. This particular guy was never physical. He just threatened to be. And he got scared when I stood up to him. And that's when I started to realize how bullies operate. And even though they feel strong because of how they act in the moment and the eye contact that they use and their body language and the intimidation methods and they threaten and they might be tough, they're weak underneath. Because I would never go around doing that to people. They're weak people. They're really weak, but they hide it. But if you don't stand up to them, and it's the same as fear and anxiety. So the fear and the anxiety that the bullies in my childhood brought up in me gave me a template. It gave me an understanding, experience, how to deal with this feeling. It's this feeling again. This is the feeling that the bully made me feel, and I overcome it. And then I got a different feeling. So I've gone from having a bad feeling, which is a feeling that's terrifying me. I've faced it. I've completely faced it emotionally, mentally, by facing the bully socially. And now I've got this feeling of euphoria. I feel like I can do anything. This feeling takes away my feeling that I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, I'm an embarrassment, I'm a disgrace to society. All those feelings I had, this takes it away. I don't feel that anymore. I actually like who I am. I feel I'm a good person, I'm confident, and I'm not this terrible person. That's what I experienced as a really young kid. I couldn't articulate it in the way I can now. So I'm older, I'm more experienced, more skillful on the tongue. I'm more of a wordsmith. So when I got that feeling, it woke me up. And obviously I had to go through quite a lot of bullying until it stopped. Because for me, I didn't really stop getting bullied until I got to about age 15. So I got bullied all through my childhood from, 8 or 9 up until 15. That's a long time. That's obviously going to affect someone. It affected me. Of course it did. But when I got to about 15 and 16, I started to stand up to bullies, and I got my confidence then. I could fight physically because I'd been in fights. I wasn't a troublemaker. I wasn't. But I had to fight a lot of people that punched me. I had to hit back. That was self-defense. So I got used to it more. And then my dad taught me the boxing of the basics of boxing, so I knew how to box. And I started to be able to stand up for myself, which took so much courage. So it wasn't an overnight thing. So when you guys ask me the question, like, who are you? What's your story? What defines you? What made you? What motivated you? That feeling. I never ever wanted to feel like, I don't mind feeling that if I need to feel that feeling to go on and grow and get the good feeling, but I'm not going to let another man or anyone, I'm never ever going to let someone bully me. And after 16, especially when I got in my 20s, most of it, I didn't get bullied anymore because people could tell. Obviously, and then I went on and I done boxing. My confidence, it shows without you having to try and show it. So it's my earlier childhood experiences that have really shaped who I am, and that's what gives me the courage to teach, because teaching is scary for me in all truth, because I'm still naturally partially introverted and I don't really like always being around people all the time. So teaching challenges me, but I love it when I commit to it. And when I'm helping other people, I'm not focusing on me. It's not about me anymore, which is a wonderful thing. I encourage everybody to give that a shot. So that's really the origin of where I come from, where my confidence, my courage, my courage to be honest. It came from, going through things that weren't right. We all go through it. I'm not the only one, right? But I'm just making a point. Injustice. When you go through injustice as a kid, whatever it is, racism, bullying, being bullied I got bullied for all different reasons. Mostly because I was an easy target to begin with. But later on, they found out different. That although I was a sensitive guy and I was emotional and scared, if you pushed me enough and got the wrong side of me, I'd become a monster. People didn't recognize me when I lost my temper. Then they shit themselves. And the bullies are crying, saying, "Oh, sorry, I just want to be your friend." But I was like, "It's a bit late now. Why are you so nasty to me? Why couldn't you be nice from the start? If you would have been nice, I'm a nice person. I don't want to fight. I just want to make friends." But of course, not every bully's in that mindset. Not all of them are that easy. So I've been in a lot of life and death situations. It does something to a person, either makes you or breaks you. And it's, for most part, it's made me. So, deep in my psychology, I don't like feeling like that. And when you come into my adult life, of course, life's always going to present challenges that are either they're gonna make you feel like that. And obviously, because I've worked to myself over the years, I changed my relationship myself from feeling how I was when I was in my young mind. What I really felt was always feeling insecure, always feeling that I'm not good enough, always feeling that there's something wrong with me, to transforming. Now I don't feel that. Of course I've got insecurities, of course, 100%. So going through and it's weird because when I used to go through those experiences, I used to think that I'm never going to be happy again. I'm always going to have this depressed, dark feeling. Like I'm almost like in an abyss, like I can't get out of it. And it weren't true. And I used to pray when I was younger. I never shared this with anyone, by the way. I didn't even realize I was going to share this today. I would always say a prayer to God as well. Please, help me. Stop this person doing this. Give me the strength to stand up to them. If the teachers are not going to do anything, which for most part they never did, and I didn't really like telling the teachers. It wasn't really kind of the rules, how I was brought up. Now, I would do that. I'd encourage any kid who's getting bullied, tell the teachers. There's nothing wrong with it. Bullying's wrong. So, that insight stayed with me. And any time as an adult I ever feel like that, I know I can overcome it because I've done it so many times and I've developed those tools. Those tools are courage muscles. So I gained a lot of courage from standing up to bullies when I was younger, but for the most part at the start I didn't stand up. I was a coward. And that's why I probably do those coward videos, because I know what it means to be a coward, but I know what it means to overcome that and be a champion and be a hero, whatever the opposite of a coward is, because I've done it. I've been both in my life. I've been a complete insecure coward who cares what people think, who's afraid, who got bullied, and I've overcome that to being successful, confident, all the other things, and people liking you. And now I'd never let anybody bully me. Just couldn't. My character wouldn't allow it. But I don't like confrontation. I don't like arguing with people. I don't like hurting people's feelings. I'm still sensitive. That's a big part of who I am, and I can't change that. And I kind of like that, because it's good to have empathy and care about others. You don't want to. You don't want to be a psychopath and have no feelings and care for other people. That's darkness. I feel sorry for anybody who's like that. I really mean this. God help them. So that's the real answer. Maybe they're not the answer you expected, but I'm not going to beat around the bush. I've got to tell you the full account of the truth. That's part of my agreement to myself. My own, I have an accountability agreement. I have to be myself. I have to be authentic, whatever the cost is. So, yeah, the experiences and learning from them. And that's why I say reading books doesn't teach you this. And the academic side of things is brilliant in that realm, that area, but this is not that realm, it's different. So when it came later on to me getting over my anxiety and speaking to girls, which was so frightening for me from where I came from, I could use that point of reference, the courage that I gained and the wisdom from standing up to bullies. I could use all these things in the positive way, so I could communicate and be honest and respectful towards women and be myself and get a girlfriend. It helped me there. And I definitely use it with teaching, because I've got to use a lot of courage, meeting new people, coaching them, helping them through their issues. So there's that as well. Making money, the same thing, of learning to sell and not do all these little tricks that most people do. Be honest, be genuine with people, be sincere. So the sincerity, all this, obviously it comes from my upbringing and values, but a big part of the shaping process was initially turning bad experiences into good ones. It's a cliche now what I'm going to say. People say it all the time. I'm going to say it because it does feel true. I wouldn't like to go through that again. And there's a part of me that think, well, would I want to go through it? But I wouldn't change it, because I wouldn't be the person I am now. And I wouldn't be here talking to you lovely people. And I wouldn't have met all the great people. And I wouldn't have had the success and the great times in life. But yeah, it didn't come easy for me. But it didn't come easy for you either. We've all been through challenges. It's called life. So my wisdom and my understanding of fear is pretty good. I'm still understanding it more. And by telling my story, it really does help me to understand it more, so I can help other people to understand fear, anxiety, and get over it, all right? So that's it. That's the answer to your question. I hope you get something out of this video, all right? It was a pleasure to tell my story, or different bits of it, and use my story as an avenue or a platform to teach you the tools that you need to go and face that horrible feeling of depression, darkness, despair, or feeling bullied or being bullied. Stand up to the fear, face it, and feel that great feeling that I felt, that I always feel. So it's amazing, the feeling. It's hard to explain in words, honestly. It's a bit like that post that I read, but it's a spiritual feeling. It definitely is spiritual. It's mental and emotional, and it's the spirit, the human being. You feel your spirit is so strong, and it does feel genuine and righteous when it's for the right cause, and you're being honest and you're being decent in the situation. It really does, all right? Fearless.